Alright everyone, so today I am back in my One Direction Up All Night hoodie to provide you with the utmost of important book information, okay? Urgent information. So what is up everyone? My name is Caitlin and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we are going to be discussing all things book habit. So, how I track my reading, what books I buy, what do I read off of? Do I read physical books? Question mark. Like I said, my name is Caitlin. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe to my channel, leave a comment down below. If you didn't like this video, that's okay. Unlike the video, you could give it a dislike if you like. Leave a creative hate comment. Make sure it's creative, you know, maybe something about this One Direction Up All Night hoodie. All right, so let's get on to talking about all of my bookish habits. First, we are going to open up my handy dandy notebook, which I keep lists of things in. So I've split this up into 5 parts encompassing all of the things that I do in my reading journey, my habits that I feel set my journey apart from other people's.
Friends, that doesn't necessarily mean that anyone else's journey is not good, just different. Thanks.
First, we're gonna jump right into the fact that I solely read books off of my Kindle, off of my e-reader, my iPad, my Kindle, whatever I have with me. I almost never read physical books ever anymore. I don't think I've picked up a physical book since before the pandemic. And quite honestly, it has really changed my reading habits completely. So for me, I just really like being able to, you know, read it all on my Kindle. It's much faster for me since I'm not seeing right in front of me how much thickness of the book I have left, if that makes any sense. I'm not seeing the specific typeface and spacing that are in each book, and I feel like it makes certain books more palatable, like large Brandon Sanderson books, for example. I feel like a lot of people are scared of big tomes, and I, in turn, am not. Because when I pick up my Kindle to read Words of Radiance, I'm not reading a 1,000+ page book. I'm reading my Kindle, and things just fly really quickly. So for that reason, for me, it's more practical. Also, I am constantly going places. I'm going, you know, upstate to my boyfriend's house. I'm going to the allergist. I'm going to the doctors. I'm going, you know, to this, that, and the other thing. And a Kindle for me is much more practical. It's much more portable. And I'm not constantly having to lug, you know, 3-pound, 5-pound books around with me everywhere I'm going. I really love my Kindle. It's been a game changer ever since I got it. And I don't know why it's not over here with me right now. One second. So I have the Kindle Oasis, and this was a bit of a purchase for me, but I literally read off my Kindle every single day of my life, and all of the other Kindles I got had just, you know, slow, like lagging issues. So I picked up the Kindle Oasis. I haven't looked back since. It is the ad version. I love it so much. Let me open it up for you. I can give you a little Kindle tour. Not really though. So, as you can see, I'm currently reading Pachinko. I don't know if you can actually see that, but this is my home base of all of the books. Jade City. I'm also currently reading Jade War along with Pachinko. But yeah, I really love my Kindle, and I don't know what I would do without it as far as the speed of which I read my books. I really think that it was a game changer for me because I've stopped thinking about the length and I've just read, you know, I've read when I felt like reading. Next, oh my God, I don't hear enough people talking about this form to read, this method of which to read a book. Along with my new Kindle habit, I have not read a book without an audiobook in a very long time. The only book I've read without an audiobook this year was Dawn Shard, the novella, because there was no audiobook and I really wanted to listen to it or read it before I read Rhythm of War. That's the only book I've read this year without an audiobook. Every other book I've read with an accompanying audiobook. So whether that is me sitting and reading the book and listening along, listening in the car, or while I'm doing chores around my house, that is one of my favorite things to do. And audiobooks truly have changed the game for me. If you're one of those people that like you're like, oh my God, how do you listen to audiobooks? They're like 24 hours long. They speak so slow. Girl, I listen to it at 2.3 speed, at least. You know, usually from like, it ranges from like 2 to 2.3, depending on what I'm doing. 2.3 if I'm looking and reading long, between 2 and 2.3 when I'm driving, because it usually needs to be a little slower, but audiobooks truly have changed the game. I can read anywhere I go, anywhere. It's opened up so many more reading possibilities, and I love audiobooks for that. As well as that, I feel as though reading books with audiobooks have really allowed me to dive deep into the world of the book and creating all of the scenes in my head. I feel like I remember so much more about the books that I've read this year than any book that I've ever read before, because I was able to really immerse myself in the text through visuals and through audio. And if you're someone who, you know, you aren't that big of a reader or you read slower, I really suggest audiobooks. Or someone who has a hard time visualizing what you're reading, I really suggest audiobooks. It has changed the game completely for me, and I truly cannot go back. I will not go back. I refuse to go back to reading without audiobooks, because for me, the experience is just heightened to that next degree that is unbeatable. All right, so how do I track my books? I know, don't come for me, okay? But I do use Goodreads. For right now, it is the only tracking device that I personally like. You know, nothing has really stepped up to the same programming as Goodreads, in my opinion. So it is what it is. I connect my Kindle to my Goodreads, and it logs every single book that I read in a year. And like I said, all of the books that I read are off my Kindle, so every single book is logged. I really enjoy Goodreads for that reason. It shows me a super accurate depiction of what I've read this year, how long it's taken me to read each book, and it almost makes it like a little game. I do track my yearly goals, and I am currently 2 to 3 books ahead of my 75 book goal. I'm not the person that is going to, you know, set a super high goal to really discourage myself. I think 75 books is very reasonable for me. And, you know, it makes it fun. It makes reading fun, and it keeps me on track. So that's another reason why I really like Goodreads. And also, I am so nosy. You know, we're on social media for a reason, right, people? We're all nosy creatures at the end of the day. And I love to see what other people are reading on Goodreads. I absolutely adore it. So it's like a book social media. I know you're probably all disappointed in me. I am too. But let's move on. Another thing I do when it comes to reading, which I think is super, super important, is I just go with the flow. I see so many people, you know, on Bookstagram, on Booktube, on Book Twitter, who are constantly pushing themselves to just read. Read the book, don't DNF it, read the book. You know, we have to get to our 200 book goal for the year. You know, I am so proud of everyone who can read 200 books a year, 250, 300 books a year. I am astonished by you, and fucking, you are phenomenal. You are amazing, the amount of books that you can read in a year, but that's just not practical or feasible for everyone. And I want you and the audience to know, if you're like me, that you're not alone. That if you can't read more than 100 books a year, that doesn't mean you're not a reader. Everyone has their own lives, their own shit going on in their day. You know what I'm saying? I am the type of person that's super go with the flow. I'm not going to force myself to read a book I really don't want to read. And I also am not going to force myself to pick up a book if I'm in a reading slump. If I'm in a reading slump, I let myself slump it out, and when I'm ready to come back to a book, I will. And that's just the way that my brain works, and it has kept me on track to this day, especially for 2021 reading. Like I said, I'm still 2 to 3 books ahead of my reading goal. Yeah, I've gotten in almost month-long slumps this year, but I was still able to keep myself ahead because of the tracking and reading when my heart desires. Because when I am in this reading mood, I can consume books like it's no one's tomorrow. But when I'm in a slump, I just don't want to, and I'm not going to force myself to, and everything worked out at the end anyway. So look how that turned out, people. And lastly, I had to keep this for last because this is my biggest book hack ever, okay? And it's use your local library or your local online library system if they have a good system. And for me, I totally neglected this for years and years and years. And I bought mass amounts of books and I regret it so much. So much. You know, Libby is my personal best friend. I talk to Libby every day. Me and Libby are in contact every day. We vibe every day. You know, Libby is amazing. Libby, if you don't know what Libby is, this video is not sponsored, but Libby is an online library. I think it's sponsored by Overdrive or powered by Overdrive. Your library can buy digital copies of the books that you and other patrons of your local library can lend out. And boy, Libby, my local library has all of the titles, and if they don't, I request it and they usually get it in. And it has just saved me so much money. So like I said, I've read 63 ? Books this year, and I did a little bit of analytics to see how much money Libby has truly saved me this year, because they have ebooks and audiobooks, might I add. So I did the math, and 41 out of the 63 books that I read this year were off of Libby, which is a lot of books. That saved me a lot of money. And if we can say every book was around $20, I saved around $820 on books. If you aren't using Libby and your library has a really extensive online library system, what are you doing? Because not only does it save you a bunch of money, but it paces out my reading perfectly with the hold system. So that way I'm usually never too overwhelmed with books, and I can cycle through every 2 weeks and I can stay on track. And Libby is truly my best friend. Libby I can truly rant and talk about until I die, because it is a game changer. It saves you money, it helps you pace your reading, it has audiobooks, it has ebooks, and it has multiple copies. If your library buys multiple copies, it allows you to have multiple copies. And I truly just think Libby is the new way of the world. You know, I think it's really a fucking travesty that not everywhere in the world has access to a local library, and if we can make this so that there was some sort of free worldwide library that can give, you know, access to books physically and electronically, and we can partner somehow with these Overdrive apps to give access to books all around the world, we can really change people's lives. And I feel like this is just the way of the future. And I'm sorry for that little rant. And I love local libraries. A socialist phenomenon, libraries is. Anyways, our libraries are. All right, everyone. So I'm so glad that you were able to sit through this video and that you didn't get bored enough to click off before this very moment in time. Like I've mentioned, my name is Caitlin. Give this video a like, a subscribe, a comment if you enjoyed the video. Comment what your favorite reading habit of yours is, what you're really proud of when it comes to your own reading habits. If you didn't like this video, give it a dislike. Leave me a hate comment. I would really like if you left a hate comment about my Up All Night Tour 2012 sweatshirt. We are currently in the year 2021, so if that gives you any ideas, please go ahead and feel free to leave those comments in the description. I want to see some fucking juicy ass hate comments. That would be amazing to me. As my professors once said, not all of them, but some of them, all press is good press as long as you spell my name correctly. That is Caitlin. Make sure to leave a One Direction hate comment, creative, in my comments down below. Make sure to comment down below what your favorite reading habit of yours is. I hope you're having a great day. I like you guys. Maybe one day we'll drop the L-bomb. Maybe one day I'll tell you I love you guys, but you know, maybe that's for a different day, okay? You're making me all flustered. Bye-bye. See you when I post my next video.